earlier exit polls have shown Volodymyr Zelensky winning with over 70% of the vote. And joining us now is our correspondent Natalie Carney from Kiev, Ukraine. Natalie, the people of Ukraine have chosen their next president, a comedian with no real political experience who has not put forward specific policies on how he intends to run the country. Are there concerns about his capabilities?
There are a lot of concerns about his capabilities. First and foremost, a lot of people, because it's such a large margin that he won against the incumbent president. To give you the latest figures, just shy of 95% of the votes, the ballots have been calculated, and Zelensky has 73.18% of the votes versus the incumbent president, 24.4%. So since that's such a giant margin of difference there, a lot of people are calling this sort of a protest vote, and the fact that Zelensky has sort of won by default. People not so much voting for Zelensky and his policies, but rather voting against Poroshenko and the establishment here in this country. So I think first and foremost, there is concern about that. Zelensky, of course, as we know, is a very popular TV actor and comedian in this country who plays the president on television. So the line between his television character and reality could very much be blurred. So there could be a lot of dismay in the weeks, the months to come if he does not live up to the character that he portrays on television. The lack of his political experience is also of great concern. There is concern if he's going to be strong enough to stand up against a powerful politician and president of Russia, Vladimir Putin. Of course, there's a lot of tensions in the east of the country in that regards, and that is very much on the minds of many Ukrainians for obvious reasons. As well, too, the policies that Zelensky would like to implement are going to be very difficult to pass through Parliament. For one, it's a very divided Parliament, and he doesn't really have any sort of coalition members, so to speak. So that's going to be a very difficult draw for him as well. Parliamentary elections do take place here in October, so that could sort of help define his weight, let's say, in government. But we're going to have to wait a long time until those parliamentary elections. So there's going to be a lot of watchful eyes on Zelensky, not only from the Ukrainian people, but from abroad. He may have won the job, but there's a lot to do to win the hearts of the Ukrainian people.
A lot of watchful eyes also on the relationship between Kiev and Moscow. And as part of his campaign, Zelensky has attempted to establish himself in a strong position against Russia. Natalie, any changes in relations with Russia in the future?
Well, on the eve of the elections on Sunday night, Zelensky did say to journalists that we will plunge into a serious information war in order to stop the hostilities in Donbass, that's the east of the country, the area contested with Russia. Very soon we will announce our plan of action. So it seems like the Zelensky camp does have some sort of plan in mind to deal with their relations with Moscow. However, Moscow has in the past said that they're willing to negotiate with the Ukraine. They're ready for dialogue, but they just need the proper man to sort of do it with here in Ukraine. Could that be Zelensky? We'll have to wait to find out. Zelensky has a really difficult job in that regard. He's got to also discuss issues with the EU, with Macron in France, with Merkel in Germany, to try to get them to lessen the EU sanctions that are currently imposed on Russia, which are hurting the country, some would very much argue. So there's a lot of course, political pieces to move around, but again, it's a fresh voice, it's a fresh face, it's an anti-establishment politician that's going to be taking over power here in the country. So there's optimism that he could be the man to lessen those hostilities with Moscow that has plagued this country for the last 5 years.
Our Natalie Carney in Kiev for us. Natalie, thanks so much.